Hey guys, welcome to our homework video today and happy Monday. Um, let's get started on homework for tonight. So the first set of directions here says change each mixed number below into a decimal. Remember, just a mixed number is when we have a whole number and a fraction together. So we just want a whole number and a decimal together. So basically all we have to do here is to take our fraction, which in this case is 4/5, and change it into a decimal. So remember, we want a 10, 100, or 1,000 in the denominator if at all possible. So I'm going to change 4/5 into tenths by multiplying by 2, which is going to give me 8/10. That tells me that I have this whole number here, 5. So I'm going to write 5, and my decimal is 8/10. So 5 and 8/10. And that's all we're looking for there. You'll notice in the second number, we have a fraction that's going to be nice and agreeable for us there because of the denominator. Now, I want to take a look at the last two. Remember that when we have an eighth in the denominator, we can easily change the denominator into 1,000 by multiplying by 125. Remember, whatever you do to the bottom, then you're going to do to the top of that fraction. Now for the last one, 2/9. Remember that we still have some fractions that we're going to have to divide. So remember, we can look at this symbol in the center as division. So literally 2 divided by 9, add a decimal and a 0 here. And from that point, we're going to be able to get a decimal. Now, don't forget about the whole numbers with each of these, because if we're making a mixed number into a decimal, we're still going to need to rely upon that whole number. Now, so think about that as you're going through as well. All right, let's move on to the next section. The next section says, erase this for us. The next section says, circle the numbers below that are equivalent. Now, when you see that word equivalent, means the same. So we're looking for the words that are the same thing. Now, sorry about that. All right. So I'll start looking out at some of these numbers. I see I have 5 6, 75 hundredths, 400 5,000ths, 6 eighths, 15 20ths, 750 thousandths. Now to start off, I'm just going to start looking at these and see if I notice anything. Well, I look at 75 hundredths here, and I know that the same as 75 hundredths is 3/4, which tells me that it can't be 5 6 for sure. And I have two other fractions there that possibly. And then 750 thousandths. Well, notice 750 thousandths is the exact same thing as 75 hundredths. All we've done there is add a 0 in the end. So it's equivalent, an equivalent decimal. Now, if that's true, I know that this one can't be equivalent because it's not the same thing as 750 thousandths. And it's also not the same thing as 5 6 because one is more than half, 5 6. 405 thousandths is less than half. So I know those two things can't be the same. Now, when I look at these two fractions, what I'm thinking is it is possible that those two fractions are equivalent to one of these other numbers, but we have to simplify them to find out. 6 eighths and 15 20ths. Now, remember when we're simplifying, basically you're taking the numerator and your denominator, and you're dividing by the greatest common factor, which in this case is going to be 2 because these are both even numbers. 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I see that 75 hundredths, or sorry, 6 eighths is the same as 3/4, which is the same as 75 hundredths, so that's going to be the same number. If I go through then and do the same thing with 15 20ths, we can see whether it is the same, and then we found all of our equivalent numbers there. So using that idea of simplifying can be really super helpful. So I encourage you to do that. All right. Unexpectedly, at the Oscars last night, Kimberly was nominated for an award for her movie titled Mr. Thompson Rules. She wasn't able to attend, but don't worry, Mr. Thompson went in her place. Such a fun time. He did, though, bring her back 3 souvenirs. The total value of all 3 souvenirs was $1,000. So $1,000 in total for all the souvenirs. And I'm not going to write this part down, but the keychain was 75 cents. A picture with Tom Hanks was $8.50, and we don't know how much the Oscar cost. And the question is, how much is the Oscar? Well, what we do know here is that all 3 of these things together, if I would add them all 3 together, total $1,000. Now, all we have to then figure out is what is this missing piece? What is here, this missing piece for this Oscar? So what I'm thinking is if we knew the combination of these 2 pieces, the keychain and the picture, we could then subtract from our total, find the difference from our total to get to the cost of the Oscar. So what I would do first is add together 75 cents plus 8.50. And then whatever I'm getting there, we'll call that answer X. Whatever I'm getting there, I got to then find the difference between that number and 1,000. And that's going to get me to the total cost of the Oscar there. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully we're showing improvement every day. We're working really hard, guys. Keep doing that. And I'll see you guys in class later. Bye, guys.